Hey, what is going on, you guys? Welcome to One of Each, the Dumb and Hungry podcast, where we talk about our food adventures and our favorite food groups. I'm Angelo, the Dumb and Hungry.
And I'm Mychall.
Hi, Mychall. How you doing today?
Okay, how are you?
I'm doing all right. If you had anything good to eat lately?
No, unfortunately, I had a busy weekend-ish.
Hmm.
Working mostly all day.
Yeah, I'm working.
Oh, well, that's a lie. I did on Saturday. I went to Rice and Nori in Little Tokyo.
Tell me about that.
It's it's an onigiri place. It's pretty good for what it is. They're thick onigiri, so that's nice. Um, what did I have? The beef sukiyaki,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one was the avocado bacon. It was pretty good.
What's this
The
place
avocado
called
bacon
again?
was a little salty. Rice and Nori.
Has that place been around?
A few years now, I think, maybe a couple.
Oh boy. Okay. I'll make sure to check it out. It's out in Little Tokyo, right?
Yeah, in Weller Court, where the Kinokuniya is,
Oh yeah.
and Marukai.
Oh, very cool. Okay. Well, glad you
Yeah, it's
had.
good.
Well, glad you had somewhere to go.
Yeah.
Didn't spend all time working.
Yeah.
I know it's. But as for myself, what did I do?
Mm-hmm.
I visited Ray's barbecue this
Oh,
weekend too. I don't know. I had a fixin' for barbecue, and I was definitely reminded of those guys, and we visited them a little while back, um, and I was just reminded I should stop by, and yeah, just as good as they have been. Got the family,
oh, good.
got the whole family on there. We'll have our own kind of probably a little own episode for that spot too, because that one that one's also pretty special, I'd say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So good barbecue, had brisket, ribs, sausage, um, and they have this side that they've been serving for a while, but I had only tried maybe one other time. It's this barbecue rice dish. It's kind of a recipe I think from the mom. It's kind of this I think it's Salvadoran kind of rice recipe, so spiced and flavored, but then they have like pieces of meat in there as well.
Okay,
So yeah, it's actually quite delicious.
nice.
Yeah. Um, so I had some of that. So if you haven't already, check them out. But don't worry, we will have our share of stories with barbecue at large. So don't you worry.
Oh, there's plenty to come there.
Yeah, absolutely. So nice. But as for today, again, thanks everyone for joining us yet again for another talk of our food adventures and our favorite food groups as we visit different spots, local and otherwise, little pop-ups and little operations that set up, and finding good food and talking about that and some of the good people that we come along the way as well. Today's food group is, again, yet another essential food group, as they all have been. And today we're talking about tacos. And for us that live in an area like LA, I think tacos is, you can't really talk about the food scene without talking about tacos.
Yeah,
So I think you'd agree too.
you got those taco stands in like every corner. Like even around me, there's at
Yeah.
least three different ones I can think of that are
There's
within a
probably one
block.
outside right now. I mean,
Yeah,
they're just
definitely.
they just set up and they're ready. They just got it going. I mean, even names big and small, it doesn't really matter. I think almost every taco stand you're gonna visit, you're gonna find, um, you know, a good, just a good taco. I mean, from your carne asada to maybe your uh, like carnitas or chicken or chorizo, and all sorts of flavors. I mean, there's so many different styles and places and regions that have all come together really, and that showcase here in LA. It's just kind of incredible. I don't know, when you think of a taco, just in general, not necessarily a place or anything, what kind of taco, do you enjoy having? What's your go-to kind of order?
Go to order. It's been a while, but it would have to be um
I mean, are we talking about like a meat or like a filling? Some
I,
type.
I was thinking of what is that meat that very common with a slice of pineapple.
Al pastor.
Thank
You're
you.
talking about
For
al
the love of
pastor.
God, why did I blank on that?
Well,
Yes.
don't you worry. There's plenty of al pastor to go around, and
There really
many
is.
good examples of that too, which I'm sure we'll bring up in time. Yeah, al pastor, you can't go wrong with that. I mean, there's you have the trompo outside, just with the fire, just kind of
Mhm.
cooking the meat, charring it nice, and then you have the taquero just kind of slicing it up along the trompo down to the tortilla, and then they do a little song and dance, and they like chop off a little bit of the pineapple and just like kind of
Oh
land it
yeah.
there on the tortilla, and then you can dress it up however you want. A little bit of onion and cilantro, some salsa, or
Potato.
or just a little bit of salsa on its own, or with it, and it's really a treat, honestly. And and tacos, like I said, come all in all sorts of sizes and just mixes, and I don't know, it's something really special. I feel like it's almost like the great equalizer when you come here. You know, everything everything can be enjoyed with a taco. But yeah, there's many, obviously many food lists curated, many different types of approaches to highlight the different types of tacos. One of them I'm sure a lot of people may be familiar with or will be is from like the big food lists, like Eater LA. They have their like top 38 of essential tacos, and
Mhm.
sure one of the spots we'll talk about on there is on there, and made their way on there, and certainly deserves to be there. And I'm hoping that we'll talk about many more of those as well as we go along. But today's episode kind of highlights this spot, El Ruso. And El Ruso, I will play something as we go along here, but I forgot to set up the internet for this. But that's okay. Let me.
Yeah, the internet, you say.
Don't worry. I turned on the internet the entire. So
Down
now
for
it's
everyone.
working. Don't you
Uh,
worry.
I see. I see. I was afraid I wouldn't be able to access anything right now
I know, but we
without you
got that
setting it up
going.
for
Don't you
us.
worry. But what we got going on here is just a video that I have here
Ooh.
from LA Taco, and just you can see they're kind of making the tortillas, and particularly these flour tortillas. That's something I think that kind of sets this place apart. In many of the conversations for tacos, we have, we talk about the different, fillings and meats and everything you top on it. But there's also just a conversation as well, just on the vehicle, just kind of the medium which you carry all of them. And, it's going to be kind of your masa based corn tortillas or your flour tortillas. And I don't know about you, but I'm not really sure how divided people are with between these types, and I'm not sure if there needs to be. I'm just happy that they're there and they have to be a part of it to eat them. I don't know if you have any thoughts between a preference, between either one. What do you think?
You, you can call it blasphemous, but I personally prefer flour tortillas over corn.
I I mean I like a good flour tortilla too. I mean, I don't honestly don't see, yeah, really. Maybe I just don't have that. I need to have that level of appreciation really to get to there. But I think a flour tortilla is, just as great. With it's just kind of, it just has like kind of the softer texture, a little more pliable, but still enough to
Yeah.
kind of hold its own with whatever you throw at it. And if it, when it's done right, I think maybe when you go get a run of the mill kind of maybe supermarket style tortilla or something, I can see maybe the texture and the flavor even is definitely a little more processed, a little more generic, and just not quite there. You know, um, I mean, but I think when you see something that's or know that something that's handmade and handmade very well, I think it obviously brings a different level of appreciation to what a flour tortilla is and really should be. So I think El Ruso is a great example of that. But as far as what they serve up, let me see if I can turn on the internet again. But uh, currently, we have the different meats like the asada and the chorizo, the grilled chicken, the chile colorado, chicharron, and also this kind of recent addition called El Muñeco, which is a combination of asada and chicharron, and also things like tripe, which is a pretty good offering, I'd say. We'll kind of touch on these a little bit later, but as far as what they serve, obviously it's tacos, but you also have kind of these larger tortilla size called caramelos, which I think is unique when you talk about flour tortillas. As far as the size and the offering of it, it's a larger tortilla. It's not quite burrito status, but it's larger than what you think of a taco. But we will talk about burritos too in this spotlight too. But yeah, that's El Ruso is headed by this taquero, Walter Soto, and he's just kind of a really nice guy, super hardworking, and you can definitely tell that he cares about making a great tortilla, a taco, and just something that's really put good effort into it. But I think someone that we also need to appreciate is the person that has been kind of making the tortillas, the signature tortillas, and that's his wife, Julia. And you don't see her as much; it's kind of in the background, but. And even in the beginning, I think, when we'll kind of see that there really wasn't much of her to see. But I think as started getting more recognition and more popularity and more people coming through, I think there was a need to kind of, bring them out a little more and start doing, making more tortillas basically to meet the demand and the love of these just kind of this spot. Now, I don't think I think the spot is relatively new as far as, again, the public's eye. I think, you'd find them in like Boyle Heights, maybe around 2019 or so. And, but I'm sure that, I understand that they've been, doing this kind of thing for much longer, elsewhere. But I think, again, as far as the recognition and where they are, that was definitely only in the last few years. But taking a look at the kind of our map here, as far as where they are now, they're along in Silver Lake, and they're not too far away, Mychall, I think. They're here, and actually just down the road. It's that plaza there that has the Silver Lake Ramen,
Oh yeah.
And so that's a good landmark for some of us. But you have the Silver Lake Ramen, the Cafe Tropical, and then as you kind of go north, you'll see it's just across the street actually from this spot, All Day Baby, which it's a really good breakfast kind of dinner, kind of all day, as the name implies.
Ooh,
kind of an all day spot. It's pretty awesome. But you have other good spots here like Dayglow for coffee. You have this Morisco spot You have this Filipino spot, Spoon and Pork. It's really in this kind of
That's where.
really well kind of high, good trafficked area. It's just kind of high visibility. You'll see it there on the road as you go along. But what they started off is out here in Boyle Heights, and this is East Olympic, which is on its own kind of a stretch of pretty well-known taco places, which again I hope we would get to eventually. But you have places like Mariscos Jalisco, Tacos a Cabron, um, Tacos Arabes. Yeah, there's just a whole bunch of good places on this stretch of Olympic. But here along that and Mirasol was kind of situated this kind of food trailer that was making these handmade flour tortillas, and just kind of in this more kind of industrial space, parked in the back somewhere along the road, and people would just kind of come by and get a few tacos and maybe sit around outside. And I don't know, it was it's definitely something else, and I was very very glad to come across that. I could probably thank again maybe another Eater article for coming across that. I can't think as far back as that, but I mean just talking about it, just about these flour tortillas, and really well made, like carne asada, and it's and at that time I would think like a kind of a one-man operation as far as like all the cooking and preparation and things like that, with a small team like taking the orders. But it looked something like this, I guess. It was kind of this bright red trailer, got El Ruso on there, and kind of that signature hook, pura calidad, so that's something I think they obviously take a lot of pride in, and which is very true, and I mean even carries to today. But yeah, they just kind of had it set up here. You got the trailer, and then like some tables and chairs under a little tent. I mean, it wasn't a very big operation, but I think in no time, once the word got out, I mean, people were just coming in droves. It's just, yeah, something really cool. So, I mean, I've had my share of of going out there. I'm trying to find something that I had one of these first visits. Who do we got? Oh, you got a visitor there. You want to say hello? Oh boy. Who do you, for those that are not watching, who do you got with you today?
This is Machi. This is my roommate's doggo.
I see. Machi.
Little so Chihuahua wiener dog mix.
I see. And just like to spend time with you, huh? Just
Yes, a lot of it.
it gives you a lot of affection.
She's a needy one for sure.
Yeah. Just take a good look at her. That's nice. Well, I don't know if Machi gets she gets hungry or piques her appetite over tacos or anything, but
Actually, Oli's mom used to feed her tacos. Yes.
is that right? Well, I
Yeah.
don't know if she'd consider to feed her some of this. I don't know, but it wouldn't be.
No, she's on a diet.
Isn't that what we all say? I don't know.
Doctor's orders.
Oh man. Okay. Well, that's fine. But for now, hopefully she'll just see this and maybe just look at it a little bit. But I think this was one of the first visits that I had here. You have the the flour tortilla, and you would make sure you add kind of beans and cheese to this, and then you have your your carne asada. I think there was chorizo as well, so I think that was what's in there too. But then I kind of loaded it up, with the onion, cilantro. You can see the red onion in there, and some salsa. And I don't know. I mean, again, like before, like I said, I think when you go to like a store or, just something that kind of just manufactures these, it's obviously not the same. It's just kind of this kind of flat, bland, whatever. But this tortilla is just very, I mean, it holds up everything really well, but when you bite into it, it just easily gives away to like all the, all the meat and everything else you're eating. And again, the dough itself is just kind of, you know, it's like pliable. It's like just really nice to, it just has a nice satisfying kind of feel, when you bite into it. So I don't know. I think one of our later visits, we would visit as well. And let me see if I can, find that. But like I said, they started to find themselves on like all the on the food lists and all the conversations. I mean, like I said, there's no shortage of tacos in LA, but it's always nice to see a new spot, and to have another addition to the landscape. And um, and this is definitely one of them. But these pictures here, they come from a visit I think that we did. You, me, and Salem too. We had actually spent a day doing a little a kind of food crawl,
Yeah, I
and
remember that.
yeah, and probably by the end we were definitely crawling because we had quite a lot. Actually, let me
Were
let me
we?
let me list the places that we went. That day we actually started again in East
Burritos.
LA, but we had like breakfast burritos
Yeah.
at this place called Azteca Tortilleria. And
Yeah.
they, obviously with a burrito, you're going to have a flour tortilla. But this was loaded, with breakfast stuff, like chile relleno and carne asada and, with egg and things like that. I mean, it's just, yeah, it was a good definitely a good burrito on its own. And yeah, I think as far as flour tortillas go, I think that's another good example of that too. And then we drove down to this kind of area in East LA, but we got the shrimp tacos at Marisco's
Mhm.
Jalisco,
Delicious, yeah.
which hopefully we can
It's
also
down the
talk about
street.
soon. But yeah, so just down the street. So I mean,
Yeah.
we're already there, right? Why, why,
Yeah.
why not? Um, and then we stopped by here. Um,
Okay.
so we stopped by here. We got a few tacos. I'm thinking that this was just my share. I think even if we eat, despite what we've eaten already, I think you also got your own share of
Probably.
tacos, your own order. But again, you can just see just how the tortillas are. They're kind of placed on the flat top. They kind of, they kind of, you see the kind of uh, the blistering and the
Yeah.
the marks on there. It just yeah, it's just a really good burrito. Oh, taco. Man, I got burrito on my
I'm
mind.
sorry.
Excuse me. But then you see here some of the the cheese and the beans on there. So it's that's just kind of the way to go, really. And then again, this was just really loaded up with all the salsa and the toppings and everything. And then you put a little bit, you put some lime in there, and just kind of really brings it out. And yeah, it's just a nice experience to have. But I mean, just remembering that visit there, Mychall, I mean, what can you share, or what you remember from that?
It was in an interesting spot.
Was it an
I
issue?
will
Okay.
say.
All right.
Yeah, because it was you had to walk down an alley, and it was behind all these industrial. It was just an interesting spot. All these
Right.
industrial buildings
Right.
or warehouses. It was pretty cool. But also it was just good. Like I liked that it was bigger. The tortillas was bigger than regular.
Mm.
The street taco that you get, and just means just more can go inside of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember what you ordered? Um,
Not off the top of
no.
my head.
Yeah.
What's the date on that?
This was October of 2019, looks like. So that
October
was
2019.
pretty early on. But these have here the carne asada. I think that was, I don't remember if that's everything based on what I'm looking at here. It looks like that was all I ordered. But for good reason. I mean, uh, couldn't have been disappointed any other way though. But yeah, it was a very good haul, I'd say.
Sorry, I'm looking at my stories from October 2019, and I
Okay.
see a doubled barbecue day.
A double? Oh man. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll tell you where else we went after that. But do you have any pictures of of what you had ordered or what you had that day?
For the barbecue day?
No, for
For El Ruso?
yeah.
No, I can't. I don't see it, but oh, it was the 19th. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I do not.
That's fine. I mean, may this image serve you as a reminder of what you probably had and hopefully will have soon. But as a reminder, yeah, after that, we still had more food. We went
Yeah.
to the Apple Pan
Hmm.
and had a burger there. And then we went to Smoky Jones. We had barbecue there. All right? I'm
That's
telling you.
right.
I'm telling you.
I thought we did Goldburger too, but that might have been a different day.
Yeah, it might have been a different day. But as far as burgers, that was the Apple Pan.
It's Apple.
And then we
Okay.
still had dessert at McConnell's. We had ice cream.
That's
Okay.
why I thought it was Goldburger because it was
Oh, I see.
okay.
And then apparently I was looking at the stories too, and I don't remember if it was that same day or around that time, but we went to Porto's later with John.
Because it's the West Covina Portos. It just
It
opened.
was, yes.
We had to
Oh my
go.
God, we traveled so far. That's crazy. Went all the
Jesus
way on the
Christ.
east side, the west side, and then the far east. Yeah, that's we definitely did a good haul that day.
That was a good day.
That was a good day. Oh boy. But yes, back to the tacos. That was definitely a highlight, one of the highlights of our day, I'll tell you.
Definitely. And
But
Russo was great.
yeah, but as we go along, we just continue. I just continue to visit and just to have more of these tacos, and yeah, this also was just another haul, just more the 3 tacos there have the carne asada, but we also have the introduction, as far as I know, at least my first kind of foray in tasting the chile colorado, which is
Mm.
kind of like this stewed meat with the spices and the chili in there, just literally this red stew, kind of, and yeah, it that was a good visit too. I mean, that was a nice taste of what they had. So yeah, I mean, I would make sure to add that to like something to get for sure on top of the carne asada. I mean, I think that's kind of up, definitely one on top right there. But um, this chile colorado is also a very good take as well. But you know, very good. And as we go along, again, just more tacos. I mean, I'm just seeing here more of these great tacos, the flour tortillas, the carne asada on the, again, just adding the beans and cheese on there. And, it really wasn't unreasonable. I mean, these are large tortillas. I mean, these are large tacos, as you remember. So I think it
Oh
was like,
yeah.
at least at that time, like 325. What I mean, price wise, I mean, for what you're getting a loaded taco, and and that was nothing to really complain about. So, but yeah, that was definitely there. Man, I need to. Why do I always talk? Why do we always talk about these things like when we're not there? One day, Mychall, we need to. We do need to do some of these things like on location, because I think it'll really like bring out some of the memories and some of the things we
I'm
can
in.
talk about over there.
I'm so
Yeah, we got to
doing
figure
these while
that
not
out.
eating
But again, we have
sucks.
to do it on obviously on a day like when we're free. These days it's just kind of tough
Yeah.
to line up schedules and things like that. But I'm sure we can find time, right?
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I would say doing this while eating would be much improved
it'd
for
be much
everyone.
more productive for all involved.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, but okay, that's we'll plan on that. Don't you worry. But yeah, as we go along, it's like I'm just seeing here more tacos. I think this one here we have the grilled chicken. The chicken was just it's not dried out. It's not it's not tough or nothing. It's just nice. It's just good, kind of just grilled chicken that you can add on with the salsa and and everything else on there. But I will tell you, for this particular visit, this was early 2020. 20 or something. Apparently, I had hit up all these other spots as well, and I don't remember if this was the first, but you know, it's definitely earlier in the day. But I had this other taco spot in East LA called Asadero Chicali, which also makes flour tortillas, and they're also really good. Then I had this, and then I also went to Marisco Jalisco because again, you're in the area.
Right down the street. Yeah.
And then in East LA, there we went to Carnitas. And when I say we, I mean me. I mean went to Carnitas El Momo, which serves again some of the best carnitas in town. Which again, I think we still need to take you out there. I need to get you out there. So I think then later that evening had A's barbecue, but they were serving burgers that day. I think it was one of their early forays for that, and I had some of that. And then since they were down the street from this other taco spot called Tacos Arabes, I had those as well. And then I still had the nerve to get dessert at Wanderlust. And mind you, Mychall, this is one day. Okay, this is not a weekend. Okay, this is a day.
Full day.
It's so. When I look back,
What do you mean?
What is?
How many we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 places plus dessert. That's
So you don't count that. You don't count the dessert 6 plus dessert.
yeah. There's always room for dessert. Doesn't matter. Always.
No, you're right. I agree. That would just be one of many types of visits like that. But I'm glad I fit an El Ruso into that schedule. You know, it's something else. But I see some other pictures here that are reminded. We also have some pics of like Walter and Julia. But actually, the salsa that we see here, salsa Sinaloa, I think from what I understand, like the people there, I mean, they make these salsas like really potent, like spicy salsas. But I think it's those people that kind of really started to support, you know, El Ruso and kind of get their footing to like kind of be at the scale or whatever that they're set up that they're at. So that's pretty cool. But you can see here, I took a pic, you know, there was a picture here of like the dough, you know, the flour and the, you know, to make the tortillas. It's, and also this visit reminds me, let's see. Oh, I believe that's Julie right there. She's kind of hand making those tortillas. And yeah, you just kind of have here, where they place them to heat them up and get them cooked. And it's not a very big operation, right? It's just like this small kind of stovetop thing. It's like, wow, that's all it took. And you can just see her just kind of, you know, hand making it and just kind of rolling it out and, you know, just, I don't know, shaping them up. It's somewhat, you know, you have to give them, you know, almost endearing to just kind of see the kind of work that it takes to make something that you put effort to and to make a really good product, you know. So I don't know, it's appreciate all the taqueros really that kind of you know, put all their effort into that. But in this particular set too, I'll give another shout out to Chef Mayo. He like I kind of said from a previous episode, like Chef Mayo, this guy, he knows all the good places before everyone else knows that they're a good place. I mean, he's like, I don't know, he somehow gets the word, or he just knows already that, you know, this place is gonna be something before everyone else does. So he was my little hand model today for taking these pics here. But yeah, if you don't know him, check him out. You know, Chef Mayo, shout out to you, man. He's a real one. So but yeah, that was the day when we just had a good time, just shared a meal, and then we have a few pics here of Walter too. We'll find better ones, but you know, he's just there. He's loading up the tortillas. He's, you know, putting them on the grill. It's just something else. So more tacos and just more to enjoy. So yeah, every time you just go there, it's just you just taste something a little different that makes it a little better, and yeah, it's just something that you just want to, go back to. Yeah, it's, I don't know. There's no real other way around it. But as we go along, again, people are, recognizing, they are visiting, they are really talking this place up, and a lot of appreciation, and all that goes into it. And again, as they go along, we see more more direction of where they're going with this, and what they'd like to do to um, enhance, I guess, the offerings and things like that. But one, I think, notable addition to this menu, at least at that time, was the addition of what we call a sobakera. And a sobakera is basically a burrito, all right? And let me just kind of find that there. So here we have kind of the scene where you have kind of this operation now. You have Walter, you have Julia, you have some, friends and family helping out. And it's not very obvious right now, but what is being made here on, as far as the tortilla, it's kind of a larger tortilla. And the reason that is because that will create something called the sobakera. Oh, that's a bit too... There we go. The big reveal. So the sobakera is, again, basically burrito, with this flour tortilla. And it is like everything you love about this flour tortilla, just like enhanced and made larger. So that's one pick. Here's another pick with some of the chilies and some of the sides to like the onion and radish and lemon or lime to put on there. Here's another one with like the cross section with the the asada and the cheese, the melted cheese and bean in there. I mean, it's just like a big. It's like it's substantial. It's pretty good. Does this remind you? I don't remember. Did you ever try this?
I don't think I did.
Well,
which is very unfortunate because it looks great.
Yeah, it's really something else. So, I mean, yeah. I mean, you just look at that. And that's just full, right? Meat, bean, cheese in there. It almost feels like when you pick it up, it almost feels like it wants to, droop a little bit or like kind of be a little like slip through your fingers or whatever. But again, the tortilla, when it's made right, which it is, I mean, it holds together really well. It's going to hold up. But yeah, the sobakera was a good addition. And, but I think, in the beginning, especially, because it's a larger tortilla, it's still handmade. So it takes a little more work to make it. So I don't think, it wasn't just available just like that. And even then, the days it was available, it's like you'd only make a certain amount, a certain quantity that you can make for the day. You see there, it's just Julia making all the, all the tortillas for the tacos, the sobaqueras. It's like, you got to hand it to them. That takes a lot of work. So I definitely made the most of that meal. That was a good day. So Mychall, at this point, I'm not sure at this point if they still do them. I was looking. I think that earlier picture of the menu we had, I don't think it was listed on there. So they have the tacos and the caramelos, but I don't see the mention right now. But hopefully they do, or we'll see the return of them. I'm not sure. But yeah, that was also a good addition. Yep.
On their website, it's still on the menu.
Well, that's good.
But only at the Sunset location.
Right. Okay, then we'll keep that in mind. So please don't miss out on that, because that's something definitely worth checking out. Now, again, as they are kind of still coming up and they're getting all this recognition, and they want to expand, and so one of the ways they were trying to achieve that was again by kind of adding another location,
Mm.
being in being accessible in different areas. But with that kind of came some of its, I don't know, some of its trials and kind of challenges, I think. So back in like mid 2020, and this is not even like talking about the pandemic or anything, but I mean just um, there was an incident, I think. So they had opened up in Highland Park. They had like another trailer that they made, and they were there. But not soon after they started, there's this article that came out about this harassment, of this spot at that Highland Park location, and I didn't really get too many details aside from what the article gives, but I think it was enough to kind of enough to convince them that maybe this wasn't exactly the place to set up, which is unfortunate because I mean, for one, I mean, there's no, unfortunately, I really, there really shouldn't be any place for any kind of language or mistreatment like that, for people, especially to whomever. But I mean, certainly people who are trying to make business and make a living, things like that. But if you take time to take a look at this article, we'll share later. But yeah, he had to kind of stop and kind of reconsider what they were going to do. So in some way, in many ways, it was definitely unfortunate because, again, because of what seems to be a singular incident from a singular, person. It's like it just kind of turned off this whole operation, which was unfortunate. But again, in some ways, maybe it was, kind of leads them to the next step, to reconsider how they want to, to plan and approach what they're going to do. We'll see later that, it turned out okay for them. I mean, not without the challenges, but I think as far as being able to serve more people, they're doing okay. But let's get back to the food. There's still more food to cover. But there was another addition I think is worth mentioning. We have this among all the different, again, the many already excellent offerings, simple or whatever as they are. I mean, it's already great. They have this other this addition to the menu called with the costilla, which is basically a beef rib. It's literally like a beef short rib, Mychall. And you prepare this in, however they do it, and like you can see here, this is like the bone, right? And then kind of some of the fatty bits that are still attached to the bone. But then, they chop off, cut up, the meaty stuff and they put that in between two tortillas. I mean, and that's like the whole meal. It's like it takes up the whole thing. And then you still have the bone with that part on there that you can still, nibble on. This is like a whole hearty meal. It's crazy. It's like 1.5 meals. So it's, this is nice. This was a very pleasant surprise. This I don't know if it's still on the menu. If it's not, I wish they bring it back, even occasionally. But this was a really good. It's a very well seasoned, just kind of tender. Kind of. So here you see, it's like here are the tortillas, with the bean and cheese, and yeah, you have the chopped up kind of cubed bits there of the beef rib in there, and this is something worth. I'm just glad I got to try. I mean, if it's not on the menu now, I'm glad I tried it. So, this was really good. And then you can also see, just as a side note, this is, or get to use like the blanket. Okay, this is the use of the blanket because, which I'm going to call out Tomo because I don't know what her problem is with this blanket. Okay, I think it's just a fine blanket, a nice backdrop. All right, because otherwise I'm putting things like. This was during the time of the pandemic, right? So I take a lot of food and I would eat like in the back of my car, right? But I also want to take pictures. But in the past, or previous to this, I would just have like this. I would have like this black kind of
The moving
drab.
blanket.
It's a moving blanket.
Yeah.
Utility blanket. It's not very attractive or nothing. I mean, it gets the job done, and you can still see, the good food on there. But it's not quite. There's not quite that, finesse, I guess, that fit and finish. So we have the blanket. Tomo, you better accept the blanket because it's a good blanket, okay? Yeah, that was pretty good. But yeah, they just continue to make that. But thankfully, in time, they did get to secure a location that we know now as on Sunset. Before that, I think it was worth mentioning that they had set up. Again, we talked about Highland Park, but they also had a setup in the Arts District for a little while. Again, the food trailer at the Arts District, and that's kind of near. Just for your reference, it's like kind of near where both that Salt and Straw and that Pie Hole area was.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of that more general area. Yeah, they were there. So, but I think they just put all their focus then into this the Sunset location, and good for them. So they opened up, and I'm not sure what their intent. I think if they had their way, I'm sure they would have wanted to, be at multiple locations. They'd have like Boyle Heights, they'd have Sunset, whatever. But I think these days it's going to be at Sunset. But
they're working on the second.
What's that?
They're working on a second.
Good. Well,
in Vernon.
On Vernon. Okay.
Yeah.
That's like more south. Okay.
Yes.
Well, good luck to them. They need. I mean, need all the support they can get. So, but again, Silver Lake is very popular, high traffic area. You get a lot of people coming through. There's no shortage of attention and people that do. So, when you have a chance, pay them a visit. I mean, you can do a little. You could like we saw earlier. A lot of food spots like on that block alone. You can do a little food crawl on your own, around there.
That's true.
But that is something else. But in addition to all the recognition and all the good effort they've been doing, they've been invited and highlighted at other many other events. Couple that come to mind, Family Fest, Family Style Festival in LA. That's just kind of a big annual event hosted by the the hundreds of the hundreds, and they where they pair food and lifestyle together in a very special way. But they've been there. They were also invited to like this. It's interesting. It was an LA Times event, but it was hosted in like New York, called Coast to Coast. But I think the point was like to highlight places from LA, but to bring it to like, again, just as a big presence in like a place like New York. So you had places like, the ones that I remember, like you had places like El Ruso. I think Moo's Barbecue was there. I think Howlin' was there too. Yeah, there's just like this whole roster of places from the West Coast, going to East Coast. So, but they were, El Ruso is definitely part of that too. So, they've through all the all the things that they've gone through, and even all the challenges to get here where they are right now. It's a tremendous effort. I think again, it's not easy. Running any sort of food operation, whether from a restaurant or a food trailer or a food truck, even in your backyard. There's just going to be things that come across that you need to, if you really want, you kind of deal and work with, and hopefully you have the support, which they do, to keep them going. And, I hope that, next time you're out there that you'll pay them a visit and Actually, I don't know. Maybe try a sopaquera, or I don't
Oh,
know,
hell
or
yeah.
just like 5 tacos. I don't know. Whatever you want. Whatever you
Yeah.
choose, man.
Now that I know they're literally not that far, just on Sunset, probably sometime this week. Honestly,
There you go. There's your thing about ideas for dinner or whatever. There you go. You can add that on there. But El Russo, again, we come back to this. I think even though it's been in the public eye only for a relatively short amount of time, it's certainly a place we can consider an essential, taco for LA. Again, there's so many wonderful tacos. Every street corner, every spot. It's just we are thankfully we even though we have so many, we still can't get enough. I think we still need more, and thankfully El Russo is kind of part of that. Especially with flour tortillas. Again, that's a whole another conversation, but that's kind of about it. So, you got anything for me, Mychall? Anything come to mind right there?
not off the top of my head, but I am sad that I missed out on the what was it? The beef rib?
The beef rib,
The
sure. The
Yeah,
costilla,
the costilla.
right?
Yeah, very sad I missed out on that because
Yeah,
that looked delicious.
it was. I'll tell you. So I'll just rub it in. Yeah, you missed out.
It is what it is. Hopefully it comes back, but at the very least, I'm glad Supercators are still on the menu, so I
Yeah,
do want to try
absolutely.
that.
And again, we will probably talk about another definitely noteworthy spot for flour tortillas and that kind
Mm.
of offering very soon. But um, El Russo is definitely something I want to talk about for a while. So, but with that, I wanted to thank you and thank all of you for joining us today. As always, we are thankful that you join us, and we are excited to bring you more episodes as we talk about our food and food adventures and our food groups. You can find us streaming here on YouTube, and you can also find the audio wherever fine podcasts are served. But until next time, I'm Angelo,
I'm Mychall.
and on your next food adventure, remember to try one of each.